What is going on, everybody? Willis Gaming here. We are back again with another Division 2 video. So the Phase 2 of the Title Update 3 PTS changes have gone live today. In this video, I'm going to be covering all of the changes that are coming to the PTS and obviously the Title Update 3, which is going to be coming out later in May. There's a bunch of changes which I'm going to cover in this video regarding crafting, gear, loot, new vendors, some skills which are being changed, talents. So yeah, definitely make sure you stay tuned. And if you're new to the channel, guys, make sure to subscribe and obviously turn them bell notifications on. I upload daily looter shooter videos. Definitely leave a like on this video. Let's try and get 3,000 likes. The winner from last video will be on screen right now. Make sure to contact me on Discord. And the monthly console giveaway, guys, is ending in like 3 days. Make sure you go enter. The link to that will be at the top of the video description. So yeah, let's begin. So pretty much I'll leave the Reddit post down below. This video is just going to be a quick overview of all of the changes. Now, they did mention that they're still working on the Title Update 3, and not all the changes that I'm going to be talking about now may not be on the PTS, and obviously some changes may be missing. They're still working on updating all of the changes, but they want to make sure you guys give a lot of feedback for these changes. In particular, they want to get a ton of feedback on recalibration, the Reviver Hive, characters getting stuck, control points, and missions. So let's just begin here, obviously, with the Title Update 3 patch notes. So the Operation Dark Hours raid is a 8-player raid coming to the Division 2. It pits 8 players together for the first time in history of the franchise to experience the most challenge activity available in the game. Teamwork, collaboration, and adaptation will be necessary to defeat the Black Tusk. So this is obviously going to be coming next month sometime. It may even drop the same date as Title Update 3, which will be quite interesting. But yeah, let's go over the game changes now. So we got crafting. They increased the base cap for receiver components and protective fabric crafting materials by 200, meaning that their caps now start at 350 and end at 600 with all material capacity perks. So a new vendor in the base of operations, Anaya, is now a crafting vendor. She can be found next to the crafting bench in the White House. She will sell specialized and superior skill mod blueprints. She will also have an extra weekly blueprint to her stock, and the main vendor in the White House has moved all of his blueprints to her stock. Now, while Anaya will have a variety of blueprints available, there's still other sources in the game to get blueprints like settlements and control points. Crafted exotic weapons will now always upgrade to the maximum gear score of the world tier that they are crafted in, hallelujah, when the upgrade blueprint is used. So let's go over some gear changes. So gear will now include better defensive rolls. The gear sets included is the hard-wired set, now grants skill damage instead of shock duration. The ongoing directive set now grants special ammunition into any weapon, including the weapon currently equipped, and it now grants special ammunition on any kill, not just weapon kills. The true patriot set decreased debuff cycle from 4 seconds to 2 seconds. Increased damage dealt to nearby targets when full flag is active to 50%. We've got these new mods, the auxiliary skill batteries. I talked about this in my previous video. They pretty much go into the skill mod slots and they grant skill power to give you that extra boost needed, I guess, to make those skill builds. So let's go over some loot changes. So loot containers will now reset at a preset time of day. So it's no longer whenever you looted it, it will reset that time the next day. There's now a set time in the day. They will all reset at once. I think this is really awesome. Control point reward containers will now also reset with this daily timer. Improved quality and quantity of drone helicopter loot. Slightly reduced the maximum available loot from clan caches. Cabinet loot containers now have a chance to contain dark zone keys. Increased ammunition drop from enemy NPCs to decrease situations where players would run out of ammunition during prolonged fights on higher difficulty activities. So we got some mission changes. The bank headquarters have reduced difficulty for solo players, and Roosevelt Island has reduced difficulty for solo players. Some NPC AI changes, so updated RC Blade to fix various issues. The Elite Medic's Pulse Grenade has been changed, no longer applies Disrupt. The impact radius has been reduced. The grenade impact radius should now be easier to see. Decreased damage of veteran, elite, and named NPCs. Enemy NPCs should no longer be able to stagger players with a melee attack if the player has a ballistic shield equipped. Some changes to the drone helicopter. It has increased health, increased damage, improved movement. They've decreased the Outcast Suicide Vest explosion radius, lowered the NPC damage and health above normal difficulty, increased the variety of NPCs at higher difficulty levels. Now we got some changes to recalibration. Now recalibration has been changed to allow for the majority of stats to be moved as they are from one item to another, while making it less likely to reach the cap of the stat moved. To achieve this goal, we're expressing the recalibrated power as a separate number next to the gear score. As such, recalibration will no longer increase the gear score of the item. All existing recalibrated items will have their recalibrated additional gear score converted to the new format. Adjusted cost and ability to be recalibrated for Terminate, Kneecap, and Calculated. So we got some reward changes. The XP from bounties has been increased. All settlement weekly projects now award blueprints. Added a new daily crafting project that awards blueprints. Increased the quality of the weekly project equipment rewards. Some changes to skills. The assault drone in PvE will now actively look for a new target once it loses its current target. The defender drone will now drain more quickly once a shot has been deflected. The reinforcer chem launcher. Reinforcer gas clouds do not stack anymore, so you cannot stack your healing, unfortunately. The reviver hive fixed further occurrences of players not being revived, and the revive time has slightly been increased. The riot foam launcher increased base duration of riot foam when used against an NPC. The scanner pulse reduced cooldown from 120 seconds to 90 seconds. So, some changes to talents. I'm not sure if these are set in stone, guys, whether or not they're going to be making changes to this before they roll it out. So I understand there's probably a lot of these changes you will probably not be happy with. But as long as you give feedback, constructive feedback on Twitter and Reddit and stuff like that, I'm sure the devs will look into this. Or maybe it's just set in stone and I'm talking garbage. But yeah, the gear talents. So Berserk increased required max armor depleted from 10% to 20%. It now requires 7 red offensive attributes to activate. Blacksmith increased armor repair from 25% to 50%. This can now occur every 15 seconds. It was 10 seconds. It now requires 7 blue defensive attributes to activate. Bloodlust, so in PvE, increased granted weapon damage from 25% to 35%. Decreased duration from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. And in PvP, it decreased granted weapon damage from 25% to 20%. Decreased duration from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. And it now requires 9 red offense attributes to activate. So Bloodsucker in PvE, depleting an enemy's armor adds a stack of 25% bonus armor for 10 seconds. The max stack was 6, was 20% bonus armor, was 20 seconds, and the max stack is now 5. In PvP, depleting enemy's armor adds a stack of 20% bonus armor for 5 seconds. Max stack is 5, and it now requires 11 offensive red attributes to activate and an assault rifle, SMG, or LMG equipped. Critical, reduced critical hit bonus from 8% to 5%. Clutch, increased health gain per critical hit from 15% to 20%. Reduced armor gain per critical hit from 2% to 1%. Entrenched, increased armor repair for headshots from cover from 5% to 10%. Kneecap, increased chance to apply bleed when shooting an enemy in the legs from 10% to 15%. Patience, after being in cover for 5 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second, was 3 seconds. This now requires 6 blue defense attributes. So Safeguard, reduced duration to 5 seconds, can only occur once every 20 seconds. This was already the case, but now it was reflected in the tooltip, and this now requires 4 or less red attributes. Spotter, increased weapon damage to pulsed enemies from 10% to 20%. This now requires 5 yellow utility attributes. Surgical, reduced critical hit chance bonus from 8% to 5%. Unbreakable, in PvE, increased the amount of max armor repaired when armor is depleted from 25% to 70%. Increased time frame for armor kits not being consumed when the effect triggers from 5 seconds to 7 seconds. Now in PvP, this increased the max armor repaired when armor is depleted from 15% to 25%. Increased the time frame for armor kits not being consumed when this effect triggers from 5 seconds to 7 seconds. Now requires 11 blue defense attributes and no other talents affecting armor kits. So some weapon talents. Let's take a looky. So Frenzy. In PvE, for every 10 bullets in a magazine capacity, gain 2% rate of fire and 2% weapon damage for 5 seconds when reloading from empty. In PvP, for every 10 bullets in a magazine capacity, gain 1.5% rate of fire and 1.5% weapon damage for 5 seconds when reloading from empty. Killer now grants 30% critical hit damage for 5 seconds. Preservation, in PvE, killing an enemy repairs 10% armor over 5 seconds. Headshots improve the repair to 20%, was 5%, was 3 seconds, and it was 10%. In PvP, killing an enemy repairs 5% armor over 3 seconds. Headshots improve the repair to 15%, and this now requires 7 blue defense attributes. Reformation increased headshot kill skill repair and healing from 50% from 25%. Duration decreased from 25 seconds to 20 seconds. Now requires 9 yellow utility attributes. Spike increased the skill damage from 25% to 35%. Increased duration from 10 seconds to 20 seconds. Now requires 5 yellow utility attributes. Strained increased missing armor requirement from 5% to 10%. Unhinged reduced damage bonus from 25% to 20%. Reduced handling negative from 35% to 25%. And our baby, Unstoppable Force. Killing an enemy now grants 2% weapon damage for every 25k max armor. And in PvP, killing enemy now grants 1% damage for every 25k max armor. So, some vendor changes. Vendors will now verify players' highest achieved world tier and offer items of that gear score instead of offering items of the highest world tier available in the group. Weapons, the Socom MK20 SSR now has a skin slot from the specialized quality and up. So here we've got some huge changes to exotic weapons. The Chatterbox damage has been increased. The Sweet Dreams / Lullaby damage has been increased. The Merciless / Ruthless damage has been increased. Pestilence damage has been increased. The Liberty damage has been increased. And the TAC 50 Specialization Sniper now has 2 zoom states. So some changes to the Conflict PvP. The armor boost provided reduced by 50%. Armor values are now on nameplates, improved visuals to better reflect how much armor the enemy has. Some balance changes, all players are now scaled to the max world tier gear score. Primary stats are set to high-end values. Normalized talents overrides are applied. Budget distribution of unnormalized items is preserved. No additional bonus is applied. Unlock mods and talents from unnormalized builds are active. Items above the gear score 500 will be scaled to 500. No bonus stats will be applied to these items. Recalibration bonuses are not applied. So some PvP specific overrides. Weapon and skill global damage modifiers. Targeted weapon and skill damage modifiers. Assault rifles now have a 1.25% PvP damage scaler applied. Skill behavior overrides. So the damage boost provided reduced by 50%. The conflict NPC was moved to a more prominent spot next to the helipad outside the base of operations. So some respawn changes. Respawning players are much likely to respawn with their teammates. Skill cooldowns no longer reset when a player is killed. So no coming out of spawn anymore with your defender drone. Hallelujah. So some PvP changes. Damage modifier reduced, increased time to kill. Skill modifier increased to let skills have more impact in PvP. Some Dark Zone changes. Contaminated loot. Bosses now guarantee a contaminated loot drop. Higher challenge landmarks can now drop multiple contaminated items. Basic, veteran, and elite NPCs have their drop rate lowered, but now have a very high chance to drop contaminated loot. The Dark Zone bag size. The default bag size has increased to 6. The tier 1 perk bag space now has increased bag size to 8. The tier 4 perk bounce back now reduces the Dark Zone XP lost on death. The tier 10 perk now increases bag size to 10%. Dark Zone brackets. So they've reduced the bracketing to level 1 to 30 and players in world tiers. So there's only 2 brackets now. You're either in one with players in world tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, or you're in one with players 1 to level 30. NPC AI changes, reduced damage output, increased time to kill. Landmarks added a short cooldown to landmarks, so no longer instantly respawning landmarks when you're just standing inside of them. Rogue removed cooldown. There is still a 5-second toggle cooldown. The Thieves' Den now allows players to switch weapons. Occupied Dark Zone damage modifiers added a separate PvP damage modifiers, and the XP reduced DZ XP lost to 35% of your XP in current Dark Zone rank while being killed. A bunch of bug changes regarding chat, PC, UI, and a ton of bug fixes, which I'm not going to go over. I'll leave that for you guys if you want to go read that, but link to that will be in the video description. Hope you guys enjoyed this longer than normal video. I really appreciate if you did watch this far. That's pretty much all of the title update 3 changes coming. Like I said, this list is not complete. They are still adding stuff. They are still testing new stuff. They really want us to give feedback on recalibration, the Reviver Hive, characters getting stuck, control points, and missions. So make sure you go leave feedback on the Ubisoft forums and stuff like that. Let me know your feedback, guys. What of this did you like? What changes did you hate? Leave a comment down below. And like I said, let's try and get this video to 3,000 likes. Appreciate you guys if you're watching this far, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.